Another man appeared, limping through the fog, and he wrestled with her papa, trying to take the box. Lily recognised his red sideburns, his fat cheeks, and his silver shining eyes. It was Mr. Mould. Papa fought him, screaming and shouting into his face, never letting go of the box, until Mr. Mould seemed to take fright and run off. Then Papa battled towards the bodies of his loved ones, Mama and Lily, lying side by side like rag dolls on the road. Tears melted the snowflakes on Papa's face. He threw down the box, dropped to his knees in the snow. Then he scooped up his two girls in his arms, cradling them against his chest. Lily wanted to stay, watch more, but she felt herself waking, detaching from the dream, as if an umbilical line of mooring had loosened inside her, and she floated off. She tried to call to Papa, but no words came. Tried to swim back, but the blizzard of snow pushed against her, spiralling her upwards, melting the accident into a flurry of flakes. A cold, blank whiteness seeped into her bones, and she heard the thud of her pulse ringing in her ears. Lily woke with a cold, gritty taste in her mouth. The interior of the mill had grown lighter. The rising sun had split the slatted boards on the wall with orange stripes. Lily's thoughts flashed straight from her dream to the burning shop. She glanced at Robert and was shocked to find him awake, watching her. He sat a little way off, with his back against the curve of the large wooden wheel, his chin on his knees and his arms hugged around his legs. His cheeks were streaked with sooty tears, and his dark curled hair was tangled with leaves and dust. "Nightmares?" he asked. She nodded. He leaned towards her. "I didn't sleep much either. It's all so different. I miss the ticking of our clocks. When I did sleep, I dreamed of Da and the fire. I don't want to think of how he must have hurt." He took his penknife from his pocket and he turned over his palm. "This is the one last thing I have. He gave it to me for my 13th birthday." A wave of sadness flooded Lily, and she wondered what she'd done to bring such misery down on them. "Your dream was about your parents too, wasn't it?" Robert asked, putting the pocket knife aside. "Yes." She fiddled with the blanket. Damp had soaked through into the wall. "How did you know that?" "I heard you cry out the names." He took a deep breath. "What happened to your mama?" "You said she was killed." Lily nodded. His words floated sharp between them. "What happened to yours?" she asked, trying to change the subject. Robert shrugged. "She left when I was very small. I don't really know where she is now. All I know is her name is Selina." He swung the coat around and put it on. "You said you were in a steam wagon crash." Lily shifted uncomfortably under the blanket. "I dream about it. The details are coming back to me. I used to think it was an accident. At least Papa talked of it that way. Now, because of his letter and the things I'm remembering in my dreams, I know that it was a lie." She scratched her chest through her damp shirt. Her scar felt uncomfortably itchy. She never liked to speak of the past, and no one had asked her about it for a long time. No one except Robert. He sat there expectantly, staring at her, waiting for her to elaborate on her suspicions. She rubbed her hands together and she massaged the stiffness from her neck. She should tell him the truth, at least what she knew of it. She owed him that much. "The crash was terrible," she said. "The other steam wagon hit us on purpose. Mama was killed instantly, and I was injured. But Papa was fine. He was the one who saved me. In fact, in my dream, he has the box. Somehow, someone was trying to wrestle it from him. I think it was Mr. Mould." Robert gasped. Lily glanced down at the box. "After the crash, Papa nursed me back to health, healed my injuries. But with Mama gone and all the awful things that happened, he didn't want to stay in London, so he moved here." "Yes." She brushed her hair back from her forehead and wedged it away under her cap. "We came here to hide in the country, but it was hard to live without Mama. He was so lonely. We both were. so he made Melican to keep us company. Lily stood and crouched beside Melican. She took his silver winder from a pocket, stroked his head softly, put the key in the hole in his neck and wound it, feeling the fox's springs tighten. Then Papa got me a governess because he said we needed a woman around. She was the one in the house, Robert prompted. No, the first three didn't seem to like being shut up in the house. They left. Then Madame Verdigris arrived. She and I never really got on. Papa ended up sending me to Miss Scrimshaw's academy on her recommendation, and she stayed on at home as our housekeeper. I didn't know you were at some fancy academy, Robert said. Fancy's not the word for it, Lily finished, winding Melican. Fancy's not the word for it, Lily finished winding Melican, and watched as he blinked awake. The Mek fox yawned, smacked his lips together, and stretched like a cat. I'll go and check ahead, he said. Get the lay of the land. Then he stood, shook out his forepaws, and before Robert or Lily could answer, he leaped through the hole in the door and trotted off. Robert scratched his cheek as he watched the